Hi everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Bandage, the podcast where we go beyond the textbook and into the real stories, real people, and real impact behind first aid. Because today, we're not just talking about training, we're talking about purpose, we're talking about impact, and we're talking about what happens when the skills we teach truly come full circle.
Today we're joined by Justin Gange from Mates in Construction. Justin is passionate and an advocate about mental health and suicide prevention in the construction industry. Justin, for those that are not familiar with Mates in Construction, can you tell us a little bit about you and obviously your organisation?
Yeah, awesome, Dee. Look, Mates in Construction, we're a suicide prevention charity, so we are a gift from the industry to the industry. I'm just a dodgy plumber from Logan, but one of the things that we do is we go onto construction sites. We've got a 1300 number for anyone in our industry and their families to be able to reach out when they're struggling or doing it tough. And our heart and our mission is to empower the industry to do what it's been doing for eons, which is looking out for its mates. Noticing if someone's struggling, not only physically but mentally with their well-being, and supporting that person, being able to navigate a struggling person to the help that's available. So that's our mission, just getting out there, having these conversations and empowering people to notice when their mates, when their friends, when their family members are struggling tough. So yeah, it's a pretty cool gig.
How do you promote that in your construction sites? Like, there's just so many construction sites. How do you reach so many different people?
Yeah, 100%. Look, we just go low-hanging fruit. We just walk on where we're wanted, and we do layers of training. We'll support people if there's been an incident on site or there's been a loss. So supporting through grief and loss is always a challenge. But basically, yeah, we just keep turning up. Last week I was in Adelaide going on construction sites, having conversations with people. A week before that in Townsville, you know, so we fairly travel around. There's a fair few construction sites out there, but the secret sauce isn't us going about, it's about empowering the industry. So that's our mission. The secret sauce are the volunteers on every single job site, you know, willing to have the conversation.
Yeah, awesome.
And you seem, and we can hear you're very passionate about this industry, and very clearly you enjoy having conversations, and we're only a couple of moments in, and I can tell already this is going to be a great chat. Justin, what drew you to the industry in the first place?
Yeah, look, as I said, I am a plumber, so I've been in the industry for over 36 years. Hailed from New Zealand, but came to Australia as a 17-year-old and
good on you.
Landed in the industry and definitely love the industry, love the banter. You know, plumbers are probably the top notch above everyone else.
Of course.
We're all jealous of the Sparkies, but that's another story.
I've heard that before.
So I've been in the industry for a while, and I guess the work that I do, you see people go through stuff, go through some challenges, and I've been through my own challenges. I've had breakdowns, and I have a diagnosis of a mental illness, so I've got bipolar type 2. And so navigated that most of my life, and to be able to acknowledge that not everyone who goes sideways has a mental illness. Sometimes circumstances jump up and bite people. And so I just love the fact that our industry is full of people like me who, you know, just bruised and battered, but passionate about building stuff, but even more passionate about looking out for our mates.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And do you find, Justin, through those conversations that you're able to connect with other people, or they're, of course, able to connect with you quite well, given that you've had, you know, those experiences yourself? Yeah,
look, I think, in my opinion, authenticity is what drives our industry. So if you can be fair dinkum, if you can be real with who you are and the challenges you've faced and maybe overcome, then that empowers other people to be authentic and transparent with their own journeys. And I think that's what keeps people on this planet, is the ability to own the stuff they're going through, and to not feel judgment from other people, and that might make them more likely to accept help when it's offered.
Absolutely. I think that's the thing. People are often frightened to speak up or frightened to have those conversations or be vulnerable because they're afraid of judgment, right? Because, and I think having someone that, is able to connect with them can often help. And I think as well, even just being able to connect with people like yourself, like you're an easygoing bloke. You're obviously, before we jumped in today, like we had a conversation, of course, and straight away, you can just tell that you're that person that you can really have a conversation with, relate to, and feel at ease. So good on you.
Fooled them. That's awesome. That's awesome.
After 5 minutes,
yeah, giddy up.
I love it.
Justin, the construction industry is known as a rough and tough sort of industry. How does, and it's twice as likely for more suicide impact to happen to like the workers than the general public. What do you think is unique about that?
Yeah, look, I think it is a tough industry. Like there's a lot of pressures. We talk about psychosocial hazards in the workplace, and the amount of upward pressure and downward pressure on people in our industry to meet job targets and budgets and things like that.
Time frames.
And it's a hard yakka industry. It's you got to put a bit of effort into what you do, and so yes, it's a challenge. But that's where we see people rise. And if you see someone struggling with a physical load, our heart and our mission in our industry is we'll go and help that person, won't we? You see someone struggling at the shops or whatever, we're jumping in to help that person. And so all we're doing is saying, hey, those are the skills that we've got in this tough industry, and understanding that any one of us could go sideways because of finances, relationships, or whatever, beyond the complexities of our industry. But knowing that mates can help you with the physical load, we just simply turning that over to, any one of us could be holding a mental or a circumstantial or an emotional load. And so let's do what we've always done and help a mate out. And that's the simple message we bring.
So how do you help your construction workers recognise, for them to recognise the other workers need help?
Yeah, look, I think it's just a simple case of noticing. We work beside people every day. You guys work beside people every day. You know when they're on.
Yeah.
And when they're off.
When they're off.
They're having an off day.
And so you just call them out on that stuff. I'm a Bronco supporter, so people have been calling me out
You'd be a bit sad at the
how
moment.
well they're travelling this year. It's like, that's what we do. It's part of our nature. It's the beauty of, Australian nature.
Culture.
Is that, we'll call each other out on stuff every day of the week. So all we're saying is, hey, no different here. Just start to notice some changes, it could be in what they're saying or what they're doing, or maybe understanding what they're going through some stuff, and just calling them out on that stuff.
The simple "Are you okay?" check-ins.
Absolutely. And as an industry, we fix stuff, right?
Yeah.
But that's not our role here as a mate. It's about empowering our mates to have that conversation and go, man, I'm just a dodgy plumber from Logan. Let's hook you up with someone who might be able to help you better than I can.
Yeah.
Right now. And so having those tools, it's all about the confidence to have that conversation, that conversation starter, or are you okay? All of those sort of things are brilliant in starting that conversation, and then being able to navigate that person to help is the key.
Who are your organisations that you turn your workers to, like Beyond Blue, Lifeline, those sort of people? Absolutely.
Look, we've got so many supports out there, and what we have, we've got a whole group we've got 5 case managers all around Queensland and Northern Territory. And so those people are loaded up with those services. Some of it's Alcoholics Anonymous, Gamblers Hotline. We've got counselling services, your TACs, all those sort of things. So what our case managers are really good at is being able to have that initial conversation, then link them up with what someone needs.
What they need.
And it's different for everyone, isn't it?
Case by case, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have lots of, collaborate with lots of different organisations, of course, because there's many different things that people need help with, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you notice at all is generally, is it, in terms of age, is it, are you finding it generally the older population or younger, or is it everyone? Is it an age thing?
Yeah, look, and I think when we talk about suicide, it is the highest killer of men under the age of 45 in Australia. And so we know that that's an issue. We know our young people really struggle. Under the age of 25, a young person in our industry is 10 times more likely to take their own life than they are to die from a workplace accident or incident. And yet we know that our older people in community who've been disconnected from the industry and from their family, they're at a high risk as well. And so understanding that every one of those populations, like you said, could be going through something that's taking them down really dark roads, then that's our commitment, our mission is to notice, to have those conversations.
And see that. Isn't that incredible, because when it comes to workplace health and safety, everyone knows that you go on a construction site, there's checklists, there's hard hats, there's barriers, there's scaffolding, obviously. But, there's all of these safety mechanisms and prevention mechanisms in place.
Yeah.
And what you've just said is incredible, the fact that 10 times more likely to die from suicide than in the actual construction industry in terms of injuries. Yeah.
Well, we put all our time and effort, and so we should, into focusing on people's physical safety.
Of course.
And physical health and well-being, and that's important.
Yeah, and we don't want that to change.
Every person deserves to go home safely at the end of the day, and be with the ones they care about most. And so all we're saying is, hey, let's be intentional with how we have these conversations, how we support people who aren't just struggling with a physical challenge or a physical hazard, but they could be struggling with a psychological or psychosocial hazards.
And they're bottling it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do you find that, I think, I guess, for example, Beyond the Bandage is looking at beyond what's visible, right?
Yeah.
Do you find that there are people that do bottle it up, and it can be a bit tricky to encourage them to actually have those conversations? And I guess, how do you tackle that? Like, if you were to give advice to anybody, of course, our listeners, what would you say to them if you notice it?
Yeah.
You can see it. The person may not be open to talking about it. How do you encourage to open that door and have that conversation?
Yeah, look, I was so fortunate to have a boss back in 2012 who noticed me struggling. It kept taking me out for coffee, kept checking in, and I was the typical bloke then. I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm all right. Yeah, no. But deep down, it was like, oh, flip, someone does give a rip. Yeah. And so that was it was about 7 or 8 of those coffee meetings before I actually said, no, mate, I am struggling. I don't know what to do. And he said, oh, neither do I. But he said, I'm worried about you. And that led me to actually getting some help. So those very conversations. So I say, if you are worried about someone, let them know you noticed. They might not be ready right now, but what you're doing is you're building up that trust to be able to have that conversation, that deeper conversation when they're ready to have it. And so in life, we've got 2 options, right? Do something or do nothing. So doing something always has to trump doing nothing. And that's what he did, and that's what I encourage other people to do. And I hear a lot of parents saying, oh, they just won't talk and things like that when their kids are struggling. And it's like, well, just keep turning up. I always remember my mum and dad, they go, son, we didn't know what to do. We just kept trusting and we just kept loving you. That's all we could do.
Yeah,
and I
nice.
think as a parent, as a boss, as a mate, you just got to let them know that you've noticed. And that could be just the little seed of hope that it takes to keep them on the planet so that they can get that help that they well and truly need.
Yeah, I think sometimes when someone's struggling, it's hard to talk at that moment.
Absolutely.
And then building that trust is going to open the door, like you said, when they're ready and, they've maybe accepted it more so in their head that they need help as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I suppose asking the question as well, if they are okay or if they want to talk about it. If not in that moment, maybe they just need processing time.
Absolutely.
Because maybe they've just realized someone actually cares, and maybe there is an opportunity to have a conversation. So ultimately what I take from that is don't give up. Keep trying, subtly trying and showing up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really great advice.
Yeah, and it's simple. Like this plumber can do it, anyone can do it. And you don't have to fix someone. You just have to care. Just have to care enough to turn up, show a bit of kindness, that old school stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you noticed a change in the mental health section in the construction world over the last few years?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I've been with mates just over 9 and a bit years, and
it's a good wicket.
Yeah,
one.
still here, still standing, still passionate, and it's really cool. We've seen the numbers were astronomical, as you alluded to earlier, Dee. But we've seen a reduction in those suicide numbers in our industry. So much so, in 2021, the World Health Organization listed mates in construction as the world's best practice in industry-based suicide prevention. So
well done.
when you got the WHO
amazing.
recognising that what we're doing in our industry is making a difference, and we've expanded into other industries like the energy industry, the mining industry, and we started Mates in New Zealand. We've even just started a pilot in North America.
Awesome.
So Mates in North
Well
America's kicking off this year, which has been pretty cool.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's just drawing on the strengths of our industry to say, hey, by noticing, by checking in, by supporting someone to get them to help, we're seeing those numbers drop. We've still got a long way to go.
Yeah.
It's still a tough industry. That's why I'm still passionate. We've still got to have these conversations.
What do you think needs to happen in the future as well to support more?
Yeah, I think it's just keep reminding people. We've got we've got young people entering into an industry that have learnt some tools and stuff like that. We've got older people in that industry that have also learnt some things in their time. So there's a culture clash, so to speak, but it's about bringing those cultures together and saying, hey, we are all in this together. And we can have these conversations and we get people to help when they need it most. And so, yes, keep marching on.
Yeah. And you were saying before we started that you're branching out into schools and stuff like that. Do you think reaching out to the younger generation is going to put them into the right track in future pathways?
Yeah, look, I think so. And the school stuff is more my personal, when I take my hard hat off sort of things. But I look at my two girls. So I've got a 21-year-old daughter and an 18-year-old daughter. And they've navigated my bipolar. They've navigated my, stays in psychiatric facilities. And watching them as they respond to their friends who are struggling or doing it tough, it makes me proud that they listen when I'm on the phone with someone in crisis. They watch what I do, and now they're doing it in school. Now they are, taking friends to the counsellor in school because they're having thoughts of like harming themselves or ending their own life, and so that gives me a lot of peace for the generations coming forward, knowing that, hey, they're actually okay with having these conversations because they're learning and hearing about it in the wider community. And so my hope in my head says that, hey, we're heading in the right direction.
Awesome.
Empowering our young people.
Absolutely, 100%.
You'd be very proud. I would have no doubt. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And it's like, and they call me out. They have permission. There's been times where they go, Dad, let's go for a walk. And I go, okay, yeah, go to the shop, buy some, some junk food or whatever. And they go,
as you do, why not?
So what's been going on, Dad? I've noticed. Like, whew, come on now.
Get you in the car where you can't escape.
Yeah, absolutely. And so to me, that's success. I'm not the greatest dad on the planet by any stretch, but if my kids have learnt those things, then I'm a happy dad.
That's good.
So
absolutely.
That's all we can ask for.
Tell us this then. So obviously you said you've been doing this for over 9 years now. I would say you've met and had many, many, many conversations with many people. Is there a story that would stand out for you where you can say, in the role that you've done with Mates in Construction, you've been able to see that immediate impact or that impact even if it is over a period of time? Yeah,
look, there's so many incredible human beings. and it's like, yeah, I've done lots of talking, as you can tell. I don't mind having a yarn, but
that's good. We love having that chat with you too.
Yeah. Sorry. Look, but I mean, for me, the biggest thing I've learnt is listening to the people, and it's been so many accounts that I have had the privilege of being able to say, hey, someone's still on the planet because I took that time to listen.
Yeah, that's pretty special.
And to me, yes, speaking and asking, those are all very important things. But the probably the hardest thing we have. The reason we've got two ears and one mouth is that need to listen to someone. Because often someone who's struggling with the ruminations that are going on through their head is they don't feel seen or heard. And so for me, I've heard so many stories, and that listening has seen people still to be here on the planet, still to be with their loved ones, still to be doing a job that they love. And so probably no one story, and that probably doesn't help for the section or segment, but I think that certainly does. Understanding that people are still here today because I chose to listen.
You had a major impact on them, so everyone is an important story to you.
Absolutely. And I'm going through a few guys in my heads, but ultimately they're still here, and they're actually passionate, and now they're doing their thing. So this is about a celebration of those volunteers that just keep stepping up despite what they've been through. Because you've been able to help them, they recognise that they're able to help other people. Absolutely. Which is incredible, because then you're, I guess, spreading that message, spreading the love. It's the ripple effect, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Positive ripple effect. Mm-hmm. We all hear about that negative ripple effect when there's been an incident or something's happened, and it does spreads far and wide. But the positive effect, the positive ripple effect of people sharing their journey to help other people is cool. Absolutely. It is a similar in terms of the first aid industry. There's been a few things you've said that really resonates. For example, doing something is better than nothing. Yeah. You've just said that thing, and ultimately having a go as well is such a big thing in our industry as well, because we're able to assist people to save lives. Which means that they can go home to their family, right? Absolutely. Yeah, so it's another person on the earth that, if someone didn't intervene, that may be a very different story. So, it is incredible. And within first aid courses, there is currently, and it is increasing over time, that emphasis on mental health. Yeah. It really is within our industry as well, because in many cases, people are dealing with circumstances that they ordinarily wouldn't have to deal with in terms of, again, saving lives, right? Yep. So it can be a challenge having to deal with that. And then they also need people to talk to too. So it's having the awareness across the country, across the world is just going to keep getting better, I have no doubt. And as you say, spreading the positivity, having the conversations, making sure that people are aware of it, right? Because we don't need to bottle things up like we used to do. Yeah, we talked about earlier, back in the day, you just keep quiet and don't say anything. Yeah. But that definitely doesn't help people. So absolutely. You mentioned earlier about a poem before we jumped on the podcast. Can you fill us in on what that is? Yeah, look, and I think Dr. ABC, danger, you've got to look after yourself before you can help someone else. For me, poetry has been that looking after myself. And so can I share this one poem with you? It pretty much breaks down what we do at Mates in the space of 1 minute and 48 seconds. So it's a good thing. But this is my why as well, and the reason why I have to look after myself. Some people often ask me, some people even stare and ask me, what's the deal, my bro? Why is it that you care? Well, I tell them plain and simple, because it's all I got to give. I'm doing this for my mate who's struggling with life to live. I'm doing this for the champion whose relationship's gone bust. I'm doing this for the legend whose bread's run out of crust. You see, we all from time to time fall down when life gets tough. We stomp our feet and smash our fists and say enough's enough. But that's the time to notice, time to activate and take a stand. That's the time to shine. Lift your mate up by the hand. 10 seconds of courage is all it takes to help your brother out. To say you've noticed changes, mate, what's that all about? Then listen with understanding, ain't no room for judgment here. Next, encourage action, share that load, show you care. For I know too well that darkness, I've trod that rocky path. I've lost too many mates and kin. I know the aftermath. So that is why I care, my friend. That is why I talk. To keep my mate upon this rock, I do my best to walk the walk. I don't have a lot to offer, no real smarts to make a mark, but I got 2 flaming floppy ears and 1 large marshmallow heart. To you who've been impacted, to those with tear-stained eyes, a virtual hug I send your way. Please know the sun will rise. So to you, my mate, my friend, my pal, here's a challenge just for you. Do what you can with your two hands. You may just help a few. And that sort of stuff, just a simple message behind what we do. And it's a simple message that we've been doing for eons. Every culture on this planet has the ability to tell stories and in order to help or support those generations coming through, and that's all that was.
It's really powerful.
That's a lot.
Wow.
There you go. That's about all the time we've got. Sorry about that.
But I think I don't know if you can notice, but you definitely got us there. That's incredible. Like, that gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
I could feel it here.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Like, you can just hear behind the words that you've had so many experiences that has brought you to write that poem, and it's absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for sharing that. It is it's powerful, it's emotional, but again, I'm drawn from the years of experience that you have, and I have to say thank you as well for everything you do in the industry. Hopefully you hear that often, but you know, the world needs more people like you, Justin, and we're really grateful for you today.
Thank you, and watch me deflect. I simply facilitate. You know, like the real heroes are the volunteers in our industry. Those are the real heroes, the ones that turn up daily to listen to this message and to be empowered to look after their mates, their friends, and their family members. So I'm going to deflect that right back onto the lads and ladies of our industry who do this stuff day in, day out. So.
Yeah.
You're a very, very humble guy, that's for sure.
And passionate. Like, we can tell that poem, it just comes from the heart. So when Justin needs help, who looks after Justin?
Yeah. Look, over the years, I've learned some strategies. My family is my number one. So I got buckets. So my physical bucket, I love a good night's sleep. And I love going for walks in the bush. So that connection to land and sea is really important for me. And family is supremely important. And what I do is important to my well-being as well, that sense of purpose.
Yeah.
When we talk about people who are struggling, often it's that loss of purpose or that loss of hope that we identify. So for me, all of those things, family, looking after my physical body, looking after my purpose and what I do, fuels me and gives me enough fuel to be able to keep myself well and help other people. So that's the key.
We appreciate you.
Thank you. It's all good. No, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you having this conversation. You know, this is just we're talking about bandages. You know, we're talking about helping people, and that's what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
So I want to encourage and empower you guys to keep having these conversations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it so much. Justin, thank you so much for your time today. You're a great bloke. We've had a really good conversation, and we can't wait for, again, to spread your word, to spread what you've said, and get that awareness out there even more. So thank you so much for everything you do in the industry, and thanks for your time.
Cheers, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Beyond the Bandage. We really hope you enjoyed the session. Please like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of future episodes and get notifications whenever they are aired. We really would appreciate your support. Thank you so much.